Um, Totally on me, not Matt, about the timing issue. So thank you so much for being here, despite saying 5 Eastern and then really meaning 5 German time, or for Matt and I both European time. But um, much appreciated. We're going to record this call. For anyone who's not able to be here right now, no problem at all. I will post it in the announcements so that those who do want to watch it at 5 p.m. Eastern time, they can watch it then, and then just send us any questions you have. But for our time today, we're going to be nice and quick. But I want to give, hey, Mary, glad you're here. Thank you. I want to give the mic over to Matt to introduce himself, and then he's going to walk through the sort of like why we're here in this course. What does this course offer? Then he'll pass it back to me, and I'll talk through the 3 projects and some of the logistics of the course, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So for those of you, I think I know everyone on this call, but just in case, delighted to have more interaction with you all. Holly Meyer, I've been with HPE for many, many years. I'm our Vice Chair of Student Affairs, so I think a lot about the student experience. I teach several of our teaching courses, and then currently am living in Germany as my husband's currently deployed, but we are stationed at Spangdahlem, and we love it here. It's gorgeous. So always happy to chat about other things as well. But I will pass it to Matt to introduce himself and then to share a little bit about the why of our course.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. Matt Flipson, I am a family physician who did 21 years in the Army, and I am now retired, as you can tell from my beard. I continue to work with the HPE program as an alumni. I have the pleasure to do that. I taught this course with Holly 2 years ago, and she has asked me to join her again this time to teach it as well, which I'm excited to do. I graduated with an MHPE in 2019 through the program, and I've tried to stay in touch and contribute in some capacity ever since then. And like Holly said, I am also living in Europe. My wife is from France, and so we moved to France after I retired. And this is a good way for me to also keep in touch with the military community and give back. So that being said, welcome to the Curriculum Education Methods and Instruction Design course. I hope you will find it relevant and interesting to what you do on a day-to-day basis in your particular jobs. It's an opportunity for you to apply what you have learned in some of the other courses that you've taken. So for example, instructional methods, learning theories, and assessment strategies, and to apply what you have learned to the assignments in this particular course. The first assignment is about taking some of those strategies that you've learned and kind of doing a deep dive into instructional methods and analyzing those methods, looking at instructional design, the development, assessing, and evaluation of the instruction that's given, as well as some of the learning design, which is the learner engagement and experience on the learner side. And then from there, understanding and taking a look at some of the we'll look at the hidden curriculum. So looking at some of the cultural, structural, and institutional effects on learning and how those affect learners and the instruction methods in which you are providing instruction. Part of that is that learning is, the process of, we do learning in the process of doing other things, right? And so that's kind of the idea of the hidden curriculum. And then taking those and trying to understand, after doing that critical assessment of the learning, instructional design and the hidden curriculum, and then how do we influence change, right? And how do we take our learning to the next level and make it better, and implementing that within an organization, whether that's through change to a curriculum or change to programmatic assessment, things like that. So the why of this course is really for you to, like I said, apply some of the strategies, the things that you've learned, the knowledge you've gained already into current teaching methods that you are going to now analyze and critique to make them better, if that makes sense. And so we hope that through this process of going through the assignments, writing your papers, you will be able to do that and gain additional knowledge and capabilities as you move forward in your own jobs and your own curriculums. So, Holly, I hope I explained the why to this course. If I missed anything, feel free to jump in.
I think you crushed it, Matt. Sometimes the why reveals itself as we go through it too, but I feel like you gave a nice overview of each of our projects. So that's what I want to do in a little bit more depth here, as Matt's introduced the projects and sort of shared, you know, why we designed them as we did. I want to just make sure everyone's really comfortable with the Canvas site and how to navigate things, and also just a brief overview in a little bit more depth about these projects. So on Canvas, you'll see there are 3 modules, and then each of the modules, when you open them, will have an overview, the readings associated with that, and then down here are your groups. So you can see what group you're in this here. And the first part of the assignment is that you will share your Google Doc. So you'll make your assignment on a Google document, and then you'll share it with the other people in your group. And then please make sure to share it with Matt and myself as well, so that we can see your document and see the comments that other people have put in there. If you accidentally resolve somebody's comment, don't worry about it. We can always see the history of comments, but if you can leave the comments in there, that'll help us as well, as 10% of your grade is based on the peer review process of giving feedback to each other. And then, so you'll have it due to each other via Google Docs, nothing to submit on Canvas. Then you'll give feedback to each other on Google Docs using the comments feature during this window. And then you'll submit it on Canvas using the assignments link in Canvas to actually submit your final product. And that same process works for all 3 of the modules. So this is module 1, but then when you go to module 2, it's the same thing, same groups. Share it with the people in your group, share it with the instructors, and then comment range, and then submission timeline. So that's the logistics of it. To give a little bit more context about project 1 modules. So project 1, you get a choice of 2 different projects, and I actually like the syllabus a little bit more for walking through this one here. So you can see here we've got comparing instructional methods. So you would go observe 2 different instructors and really analyze the way that they teach, or you can deep dive into some form of instruction, like an instructional method, a curriculum design, or an assessment, and then get into sort of the theory of how that, you know, describing it, thinking about how it relates to strengths and weaknesses for that instructional method. And so you can choose either one of these options for assignment 1. For assignment 2, we're going to dive deep into the hidden curriculum and really thinking about what's being said, but not being said, and how does that impact learners and institutions. And so you'll eventually develop a plan for how to address the hidden curriculum and propose different methods. And so to that point, I think sometimes these, particularly when you get to a project 3, these can bring up things that are happening in real time at our places of work. And so we've tried to put you in smaller groups so that you can see each other's work. But of course, please keep things very confidential, as we want people to get the perspectives of others in this group, but make sure that we're holding to a really safe learning environment. Okay, to that point, let's move on to project 3. This is change management. So here we have a 2-part project. Part 1 is analyzing like a problematic change initiative. What was tried that maybe didn't work so well? Why didn't it work? Part 2, redesign it. What can you do instead? And pull on change models and theories. We do find a lot of people find that their leadership courses do come into play here. So if you find that you're like, oh, I took some leadership courses in HPE and I'm pulling on those courses, that's wonderful. Those of you who've worked with me know that I believe that education and leadership go hand in hand. And so we would not be surprised at all if some of your leadership things come into play here. But there are readings that sort of anchor these into the educational world as well to help you develop those change initiatives and make sure they're grounded in some of the educational theories that are presented in this course. Those are your three projects and how they work in terms of the peer review and peer sharing. The last thing I wanted to bring up is our AI policy. And it is in the syllabus, but Matt and I talked about the AI policy, and man, guys, we are struggling with how to like word things to make it work. So here's our philosophy around it. We both think AI should be used, and that it should be part of the process of this course. However, we want to make sure that we're not losing you in using AI. So we still want everything to be, you're responsible for everything that's being submitted, all the ideas that are being submitted. If you want to use AI to help you generate ideas or concepts, great. But ultimately what you submit is your voice and your words. And so take that as you can, as you may with AI, but we're not against you using it. If we have serious concerns, we may ask you to submit your like ChatGPT or Gemini transcript of what did you put in. So just keep a record of that. Will help make sure that everything is squared away. Matt, anything else you would add about anything, but particularly AI?
No, I mean, I think we mentioned also referencing it when you do use it specifically in your particular assignment. So if you are taking something specific from there that you want to reference, you should reference it. The only other thing, Holly, I would mention that we talked about is perhaps showing them the rubric so they know the rubric that we're going to be using when we do grade their assignments.
Yes, thank you, Matt. Okay, let's hop back into here. Let me go to assignments. So when we go to assignments, you can also find this in the syllabus, but you'll see here it says grading rubric. And then when you click on that, it takes you to our grading rubric. And the point scale is 3 to 6. And then you can see exactly what we're looking for here for each of the projects. And all of the projects are in the same place. So it's project 1, and then rubric for project 2, and rubric for project 3.
So Holly, we can't see the rubric. If you want to click on rubrics on, oh, there you go, or switch your screen, thanks.
There, sorry, there you go. Here's your point scale. And then here's, you can navigate to the different rubrics, all in the same document. Just use this little guy over here to see the quick navigation to the different rubrics. So yeah, great point, Matt. We definitely got feedback from previous learners that they wanted a little bit more just clarity about how things were being graded. And so hopefully this gives you a better idea of what we're going to be looking for in these projects.
And Holly, I think we forgot to discuss it amongst us, but after they receive feedback from their peers, if they want to make updates or changes to their assignment before they turn it in, that's okay, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's why there's a little bit of time between peers giving feedback and it being due.
Yeah, so feel free to make updates or changes to your paper based off of the feedback you receive. That's okay.
Great point, Matt. And if you need more time from peer feedback to submission, Matt and I are okay. We'll help you out. But yeah, definitely feel free to make changes. But you don't have to make the changes either. Sometimes it's just helpful insights. People will add just comments of sort of like their own experiences, and that's okay as well. Matt, these are great. What else?
I'm not sure. I guess along those lines, when they submit their paper, do you want them to submit it with the comments or without the comments, or does it matter?
Either way is fine for us.
Either way is fine.
We'll be okay. Yeah. It's a good question though, but I would say, yeah, whatever's easiest for you. We'll be able to go back to your Google Doc and see the comments.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to open the floor up for questions. What feels muddy or just a little shaky as you're coming into this course?
I'll pose this follow-on question, which is there anything specific that you guys are hoping to get out of the course that you'd like us to focus on as we review your papers?
Love that. Katie, I feel like you were going to say something though.
Yeah, but it's not as deep as the follow-on question. I just wasn't sure if you guys had any guardrails when it came to expectations on word count or length. If you were hoping to see a 10-page paper or a 3-page paper would drastically help me when I'm trying to figure out what the mark is, so I know if I'm meeting or exceeding expectations.
I mean, I'm a theoretical math major, so short papers are better for me. That said, I think that short papers are a lot harder to write. So I fully realize that long papers are easier and short papers are harder. That said, I'll always take shorter. Yeah. So no preference for me. Do what works for your topic and what you need.
And then I would just follow on. I would just let the rubric guide you too in terms of the different categories in the rubric. So if you're not hitting some of the marks or being in depth enough on certain areas, that may affect the grading. But as long as you're hitting some of those, the key points in the rubrics, then the length of the paper shouldn't affect your grade overall.
Yeah, Faith.
Oh, do you guys have office hours to chit chat about stuff?
Yeah, you just tell us when you want to chat. We'll chat. Morning.
Yeah, this is more this is my first 800 level class, so it's a lot freer than the other ones, and I'm like,
it's so much better. Yeah, even the pace of it is better because most of you have been in you've all been in my 555 class. It is like
insane,
right? Crazy fast. This one's like 3 weeks per module. Let's have some discussion. Yeah. This is delightful.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, cool beans. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime you want to meet, just let us know. One of us will be available. Okay, well, Matt and I are going to stay on until all of you sign off, but really reach out. We're here ready to help. We're so excited to hear what you guys come up with in these projects, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being here at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., whatever time it is for you. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll stick around in case there are any other questions.